Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Fifties, our podcast where we talk about all things Australian rules football by two footy tragics. My name's Russell and with me is my co-host Cameron. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Pretty. Well, I had a look at this actually today, just straight off the bat. It was a bit of a not uneventful. It was eventful with some things that happened, but with some teams having the bye this week, it was a bit of a boring weekend of footy in terms of real close games and things like that, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't think it was a boring week of footy, but
well, your team won by 100 points, so
yep. So yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I probably didn't watch as much footy as I thought I was going to this week. I mean, I had a lot of stuff to do around the house, so that took precedent over watching it. But yeah, it did feel a bit boring actually. Now that you think about it,
it did. And I mean, even like the Essendon Gold Coast game was close, but I've forgotten about that one straight away because we lost. So, start us off, mate. What was your moment of the week?
the Bont is back.
The Bont.
Oh, did he ever leave? But the Bont, yeah, that was absolutely sensational. Watching him do that, and oh god, he just taught Collingwood a new one, didn't he?
He actually did. He I VC'd him in my Supercoach on Thursday night, and it was one of the captain's choices I got right this year because I'm absolutely terrible at it normally.
Yeah, well, roles reversed this week. I'm normally good at it, and I got mine stunk up the gaff.
You did Jordan Dawson, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Right, but yeah, Bont had a cracking game against an albeit undermanned Collingwood team, but he just took the game by the scruff of the neck and does what Bont does. He always kicks a couple of goals in those sorts of games too. He just drifts forward, and I mean he's like 195, 196 centimeters, isn't he? He's almost a forward, but he moves like a midfielder. Were you saying something?
Oh, he's just, as every year, he's the best player in the game. And I know we sit here and say he deserves a Brownlow. I don't think you can always say somebody deserves a Brownlow, but he's definitely had probably 3 or 4 Brownlow winning seasons.
Yeah,
it just happens to be that the players that have won it have gotten the most votes from that team because they're probably the best player on that team. Whereas Bont could have 38 and kick 2, but there could have been a forward that kicked 6 in that game, or Nick Dacos is probably a chance to also get the 3 votes because it was such a close game, if that makes sense. So
he had a great game himself.
It's one of those things with Bont. I just think he is the best player in the game, but sometimes it is not very huge on the numbers. It's more a very good game by the Bont because he does everything else so well, but he might have only had 28 disposals.
He's never like a player that gets you like 40 plus like Dacos probably would do, but his disposals are normally really influential. And he doesn't often turn the ball over, to be honest. So, no, I definitely agree, mate. My moment of the week is, I thought it actually took me a while to think about this, but I've actually gone with, I think they're playing probably besides Sydney at the moment, almost the most exciting footy in the league, and that's Hawthorn and their win on Saturday against the Crows. It was more obviously made it more symbolic because it was their 10-year premiership reunion as well. So I'm sure the boys enjoyed themselves a lot. But man, they're playing such exciting footy, and I mean, was it like 4 out of the last 5 or something they've won now? Something along those lines.
They have, but when you look at the teams they've beaten, and it's no disrespect to Hawthorn, they're playing well. Have they really beaten anybody? Like, I know you've got Brisbane in there who are grand finalists, and you've got the Crows who they don't travel well. You've got the Bulldogs who are so inconsistent, and then you've got North Melbourne who's North Melbourne. So, I'm not trying to put a huge thing on it, but the game against Port that they probably should have won, are Port as good as what we think they are? So, it's one of those things of getting ahead of yourself. They come against GWS again, who are, I think, still missing key personnel this week. So, is it one of those things of, is it they good because they're going to be good, or are they good because of the teams they're playing? If that makes sense, because they are exciting to watch. But I do. I mean, I have reservations with about 17 teams in the competition. So, um,
Very true.
it's pretty. It's one of those things of exciting, yes, and what they did to the Crows. I didn't pick it to be that one sided. Not surprised that they won, but I didn't pick it to be that one sided for sure.
Yeah, not saying they're gonna play finals and win a final or win a flag or anything like that this year, but just their, um, attack on the footy and their ball movement, like, even when they were, like, had been average, they're normally pretty exciting still to watch, so, um and I mean, when you look at it, I mean, everyone thought Crows were gonna play finals this year. Brisbane were grand finalists. Probably, I mean, really, they should have beaten Port, who everyone thought would be finalists. I mean, Doggies have had a pretty good 4 or 5 weeks when you look at it. Um, they almost beat Collingwood at Gather Round, so they just got those crappy performances in between. But yeah, they were just super exciting to watch, and there was a Crows coming hard at the end there. They probably miss Rankin in the side. Um, but yeah, it was a great win for him. Um, let's move on. We'll just touch base on some of the games. So we've kind of already spoken about the Thursday night's game a little bit, but um, Collingwood and their injuries, man, they're starting to
Well, that
rack up big
was
time.
Friday night's game.
Was it Friday?
And
Well, what
Thursday
was
night was
Thursday?
Carlton and Port.
It
Obviously,
seems like forever ago. Well,
you trying to keep Sandra happy so we don't bag Port Adelaide because
no,
they stink.
yeah,
Yes, Carlton, isn't it? Carlton look good, don't they? Unfortunately,
mate, they do. They really do. And I'm worried
they
this
don't win in
week.
Adelaide.
What's
They
that?
don't win in They don't win in Adelaide.
Well, they've won their last
And
two.
well, let's not talk about the first one that they won, but this one was a lot more impressive. I thought because I didn't
It
expect
was.
it.
It was. I actually wrote some notes down from this game Thursday night, and what first note that came up straight away was Port struggles against really good teams. Are they? Are generally getting to the point now where they're a fake top 4 side.
It's tough because yes, but then they also beat Geelong in Geelong.
Yeah, but that was a game for Kenny Hinkley because he copped it during the week.
But then they beat Freo, who are, I mean, okay, it's Freo, but they're playing really well. They played you guys off the park,
They fucking smashed us. Yeah,
so you know, uh, are they fake? Like they were in the game against Melbourne, and once again, probably a couple of umpiring decisions, but also a couple of personnel decisions cost them the game. At what I know we say, are they faking? You got to beat the top 8 teams around you, but I'm pretty sure I saw a thing that even last year, the teams that made the finals, they'd at least beaten everyone once besides Collingwood and maybe Melbourne. But I think they beat Melbourne. So I think they beat every team that made the finals last year.
probably did
So
last year. Yeah,
so
yeah.
again, like I don't know. I mean, they've got some big outs in their forward line. I mean, I don't rate their defence. I mean,
No,
3 key defenders that are worth. I mean, I don't think they've gotten players that I don't think had actually shown that, besides Alira had shown that they were good.
I totally agree.
Radigalia was never a good defender, and Brendan Zerk-Thatcher, while probably had the potential, wasn't as good as what they paid for him, in my opinion. But
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm not sold on their back six at all. Although I actually thought that Radigalia had done a good job on Charlie Curnow. I actually thought he did alright on him,
until the last quarter,
and probably until the last quarter. But I mean, that ball was just walking out of the midfield in the last quarter. So what can you do, right? Um,
I didn't feel like that though.
it did for me.
It to me,
Cripps
I
has done
mean,
what he wanted in the last quarter.
yeah, but that's not. I mean, I still thought Port had a lot of clearances in the last quarter, but I
I'm
mean
not.
that could have just been me because I was heavily invested in what Jason Horn-Francis was doing. So, um, But yeah, I mean, I already think he's their best player on their list now, and it's not
Close to it,
even.
yeah.
I think he's already gone. I know it's gonna cause a lot of controversy, but I think he's gone past Butters and Rosie. I think he's
Oh,
their best player. He's the most complete player on their list.
my dad will agree with you. I'm not sure if I think Butters is still their best player.
Well, you go for
Um,
Essendon, so that's all right.
what's that got to do with picking
I don't
who the
know.
best
Nah,
player
I know.
is?
I know. I know. I just like saying it. I mean, I think he's just more versatile than the other two. He can go forward more. I mean, Rosie can go forward, but not like Horn Francis can go forward.
Totally, I
Horn
agree with
Francis,
that point. Yes,
Horn Francis can go forward and demand a defender, whereas Rosie could go forward and probably take a small defender. And that's not disputing that Rosie's not talented. I think Rosie's a freak. I think Butters is a freak. But I just think, yeah, you know me, I've always liked Horn Francis. So
his
um,
his issue for me is not an issue actually. It's something that'll get better over time. I don't think he can run out 4 quarters in the midfield yet.
no, he can't. He can't. But that's also 3 pre-seasons in.
Yeah, yeah.
Show me a midfielder that can do that in their first 3 seasons. There, I can name one.
Nick Dacos.
Nah, he couldn't run out in midfield in his first season. He was playing off
Ooh.
half back.
Well, yeah, I mean, second and third season.
Okay, well, I could name one, and then
Who's
Sam
that?
Walsh. It's Sam Walsh for me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably
Uh,
true.
and I still think, I think we've said it before, but I think Sam Walsh is the best first year player we've ever seen, and arguably the
Oh
best.
man,
The best, like,
I don't know.
well, you've got Harley Reid obviously now.
Yeah, well, you can't forget about Nick Dacos' first year too.
Yeah, but I think Walsh's was better. That's just personal opinion. I think it was. I think I think the difference for me was Walsh was doing it in the middle in his first year and
True, but Carlton didn't
accumulating.
even make finals that year.
Yeah, they didn't, but that's also about the team you've got.
Yeah, I know.
That's not to do with. That's sometimes a lot to do with just because of that person. I know people can sit here and say, "Oh, Nick Dacos," but I don't think in his first season Nick Dacos won him 24 games or 12 games that made him make finals. Do you know what I mean?
No, but he did have a big impact in them, and he had a pretty
No,
good
I
final
don't
series.
dispute that. I don't
Um,
dispute that. But on the main topic, Jason Horne-Francis is the best player in the league anyway. But yes, I'm not sold on Port. I'm slowly getting sold on Carlton. This week is the big one, obviously. But also, to me, if they beat you, it's not anything I don't expect.
yeah, yeah,
Does that make sense? It depends if they
yeah,
smash you. If they beat you by 10, 15 goals, I'm going to be like, okay, that is a statement. But if they get over the line and they beat you by 4 or 5, it's like, I didn't really expect Essendon to win this game.
yeah. I don't either. I'm a little worried because there's obviously no Redmond. I'm pretty sure Langford's going to be out. Was there any other injuries? I mean, poor Zach Reed's bloody injured again, out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least Setterfield will be back. But yeah, we've got a bit of structural issues with just things not fitting quite right with the players out at the moment, the Bombers. But we'll talk about them in a minute anyway. I mean, we can talk about that game. But the last 2 points I'll quickly bring up with the Port game is Zach Williams' move forward he's like great move from Michael Voss. Looks
Yep.
lively, just great move, and I love DeConning in the ruck as a solo ruck. I think it's almost gonna. I know Pidnet probably come back and will play, and they'll play the 2 rucks, but DeConning plays so much better as a solo ruck, and
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
he was outstanding Thursday night.
Yep.
Um, then, well, we've kind of spoken about the Collingwood Bulldogs game, so unless there's anything you want to bring up, we can skip over that game.
I guess it's just the Darcy bump, but
Oh
I mean,
yeah, we might as well talk about that, eh?
I think we got a little bit of a segment a little bit later to talk about the 2 suspensions, so we can brush
Yeah,
past that one if you want.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll bring that up a bit later in the pod. But good win by the doggies and Collingwood. Well, I'll give you actually one quick question. Do you think they're going to make the 8? Are they going to get there? With all these injuries, no Elliott re-injured himself again. Got to be
I mean,
tricky.
I kind of hope not because I'm just sick of seeing Collingwood be successful. But I really want them to if Essendon and Carlton make it. I know I always brag on about Vic bias, but imagine Melbourne that time of year with all three teams in the finals. I don't think I've seen it, if that makes sense. Like, I think it will be absolutely electric. Could you imagine a Collingwood Carlton prelim? Like,
That'd be huge, wouldn't it?
the state would shut. It'd be bigger than the grand final.
It would be.
Like, so the state would shut down. Not Adelaide personally. Melbourne would shut down.
Melbourne shut down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. It might happen. Who knows? Might even be elimination final.
Ooh,
Mate, on to the Dockers on Saturday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
Russ,
I'm so messed up
yeah.
with the times here, mate. I don't know what's
Don't worry
going
about
on.
that, mate. We've
So what was
talked a bit about Hawthorn and Crows.
that was the next game, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, Hawthorn sort of surprised us. We thought the Crows would win. They don't travel well.
Gonna
Some
be tough
key
for the
outs
Crows
now
from
for the
here, man.
Crows. It is. Happy they're unleashing some. Sorry about that. My
Do you want to hear a car
iPhone.
horn?
Yeah, my iPhone watch started playing some music. So yeah, the Crows. Yeah, look, I think their season's cooked. Hopefully they use some young kids. I know they're debuting Dowling, who I rate very highly.
Yeah, nice. When is he from the draft? Just like the
Nah, he's from a few seasons back.
okay.
He's been hammering away in the twos. Very hard to get into that midfield when Crouch and Dawson and Laird and Rankin and that are playing very well.
Crouch out for the year, eh?
Yeah, well, there goes all my great talks I said about him.
Although he has had a pretty good season up to this point, to be fair.
It's probably leading their best and fairest at the moment.
Yeah,
he'd be up there for sure.
Close. Yep.
So also maybe no Tex. So they're going to have a few injuries. But yeah, Hawthorn, they did look good.
It did look good. Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear that. We've got a couple of.
Yeah.
I live in the northern suburbs here, so there's a couple of bikes flying past 100 miles an hour.
Just on the Crows have got 4 changes for this week.
Oh, so teams are out.
Yeah, no Tex, no Rob, no Crouch, and no Cook. In comes Strawn, McHenry, Dowling, and Hamill. And for Richmond, can't pronounce that name. He's out injured. Martin, Smith, Pickett out. Yeah, and Lafau, sorry. Bolton, Taranto, Prestia, Kaczynski in.
Well, got some players back.
I think if there's a time for Richmond to steal a win here, it's this week. That's for sure.
That's interesting. Taranto, Prestia, Kaczynski back. Yeah, I actually don't mind that Lafau. I reckon he's been all right since coming in.
Yeah, sucks he's done his knee, but it's like their third ACL this year for Richmond.
And that Braden Cook looks like a player for the Crows as well.
Yeah, he's out injured, so I don't know what he did. Might have just hurt himself. So nothing. But again, Dawson clears the test, so slap my Supercoach cap on him again.
Yeah, what's his injury status? Because I also asked him in Supercoach, but
had a sore foot apparently. And was a test. It would have been better if he didn't play because my captain would have scored more. So
at least they got their bye coming up.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, hopefully, well, you'd think the Crows will get the dub tomorrow night at Adelaide Oval.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, interesting game. Crows will need to win this to have any chance, don't they? I'm not sure when their bye is, but Matt Crouch out for the season doesn't help. Tex has got a bad back, doesn't he? So because he's a bloody dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then hopefully they can get Rankin back after the bye and get a good run at it. So I'm going to assume the next game would have been Saturday night's game. Am I correct? Am I missing games here?
The Twilight, West Coast and St Kilda game.
Oh, I'm forgetting them all. I've got this in total wrong order on my iPad here.
And this is why we didn't record last week because Russ was asleep. So
yeah.
I might have to do solo podcasts from here.
Yeah, apologies. I completely fell asleep.
St Kilda, West Coast. I didn't watch much of it. I mean, I had you came around Saturday night anyway, so I didn't watch much of that game. Obviously, I saw the Harley Reid tackle, which we touch on a little bit later. St Kilda got the job done like they're supposed to, but boy, both teams suck, don't they?
Yeah, St Kilda don't look impressive at all, and
Yeah,
West Coast are just good at home. Not good, but
yeah,
they're all right at home.
they're a better team
Um,
at home.
yeah,
Yeah, so,
um, but yeah, I mean, pretty low scoring game. Didn't watch much of it. Listened to a bit of it on the radio heading up to yours, but basically switched off after that.
yes,
But yeah, I mean, both seasons are West Coast never going to make finals, but St Kilda weren't that impressive. So, bit of an underwhelming game that one, and to a game that. Well, while I was at yours, we were absolutely shocked. I actually wanted to make a bet before the game that uh, Geelong would score more points in the first quarter than Richmond, like overall, than Richmond will the whole game. And that backfired like shit, didn't it?
well, they kicked the first 5 of the game, didn't they? So
It's something like that.
you're on the back foot if they needed to kick. I think they needed to kick 6. I mean, Richmond are going to do that when they get players back. They're going to be competitive. They're not going to be good enough to probably get over the line. So I'm saying it this week. My rough tip of the week is I'm tipping Richmond to beat Crows tomorrow. And I don't normally tip against Crows, so
No.
I'm on the Richmond bandwagon tomorrow to think they'll get over the line. They were impressive. I've watched some of the highlights. They're very impressive. I know you've got a bit of qualms with what's happening with Dusty. Again, still not sold on Geelong,
No.
but they got the job done, and that's all you can do at the moment. They're missing personnel. You get the job done. Doesn't matter who you play. Sometimes you get teams that come down to Geelong and put up a fight, and you've just got to get over the line, and that's what they did. So,
I mean, end of the day, yeah, they Richmond have to now acknowledge that is the effort they have to bring every week. Like they brought it against Essendon the week before, or 2 weeks
yes,
ago, whenever that was now.
yeah,
And they bought it again this week. That's a
and
lot better than the crap they dished up against Brisbane and a couple other
yeah,
teams.
but also they haven't had the personnel. Like, let's also. I know it's Richmond and it's a big club, but you look at West Coast last year and they got absolutely smashed pillar to post, but they also had a lot of injuries. And when Richmond have been
They
going
did.
into the last 2 weeks with 25 fit players, what do you
That's
expect them to
crazy.
dish at? Like
Yep,
you're not getting a full 40 players training. You can't do proper match sim. Their twos are depleted. They've had 3 or 4 ACL injuries. So like it's one of those things. I love watching them be shit because they've had their period of dominance, but
they have.
also
Yes.
but also I don't want uncompetitive teams. And for Richmond is they have to blood so many players at the moment, and they're just struggling. So they've got some big ins this week, and they're just going to keep getting the big ins, the players back. And I'm not going to I'm not going to say, but I think they would. I think they could pick up 3 or 4 wins on the run home and make it a bit more of a respectable season and take some belief into next year.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. If they can keep their experienced players on the park, um, yeah, hopefully work out. I wonder how far Lynch is away as well. But yeah, with some experienced players in there, um, yeah, you'd think that'd be a lot more competitive. And Geelong, at the end of the day, you're right. They ended up winning by 5 goals in the end, so they overrun them in the last quarter. Still
Yeah.
no Dangerfield, but it's going to be, yeah. I mean, this season, besides the Swans, is completely wide open to me. Um, any team can beat
Well,
any team
I
any
I
week at the
disagree
moment.
because we're going to jump to the game where a premiership threat announced himself, the Fremantle Dockers.
I'm not sold yet, mate. I'm not
If
sold,
I
but
told you last week that we're going to go to Demons, we're going to go to Alice Springs and beat Melbourne by 10 plus goals, you would have put your house on that it wouldn't have happened.
absolutely, I would have.
And I would have even taken that bet with you because I'm a believer. Nah, look, I'm the same. I'm not sold. Um, but uh, from what I've seen since the West Coast game, our chances have improved and our creativity has improved. We've just been very inaccurate.
Yep.
So the West Coast game was the kick in the guts, and then we played.
You did have a stinker against the Swans.
Yes, but circumstances.
Yeah, true, true. No,
Circumstances.
that's
It
true.
was.
Yep,
It
yep,
was. It
yep.
was the mulligan that we had, but also we kicked. was it 5 goals 18 or something?
It's
Like,
like
so
1 goal 12 at halftime or something. Yeah.
exactly. So, and in the first quarter, if we just kick 4 goals 4 instead of 2 goals 6, it's 28 points to maybe 30, and we're in the game, and the crowd's up and about. But I know, you can't use it as an excuse, but you look since that West Coast game, we've lost. We beat the Bulldogs, and we beat them pretty convincingly.
Yep, yep.
We then, I think we actually lost next the week after, which is just down in Freo. We've beaten St Kilda in Melbourne, which is not an easy, which isn't, well, St Kilda aren't great, but for Freo, it's a good feat if that makes sense. So yeah,
Yep,
so
yep.
we beat the Bulldogs. We then beat Richmond, but it's Richmond. Had the mulligan against Sydney where we kicked 4 goals 15 to 13 goals 9. So, we had 19 scoring shots.
Yep, yep.
Then we played St Kilda and we kicked 9 goals 18.
18, yes.
And then we played Collingwood. We drew. We kicked 11 goals 9. 2 10 goals 15, mind you. And then this week it just clicked.
It
Everything
did
clicked.
this week.
We 22 goals 9. And all the talk is about Melbourne and what's happened, but suck shit. I just didn't know. I didn't know it was happening. Like it was.
No.
I just kept goal after goal after goal, and Melbourne kicked the first 2 goals of the game, and I was ready to turn it off. Like I was worried that it was going to be
Yeah.
the other way around, but it just didn't stop, and it was so good. I
I mean,
hasn't seen one of them for a while for Freo, so
no. It's, I mean, I was pretty I was watching on and off, um, but I was just trying to relax before the Essendon game, but I couldn't believe it when I kept looking at the score. I was like, "Wow, what is happening
that's
here?"
that's the most dominant win I remember us having away from home since I think it was you guys in 2022 when Taberner kicked 7. Where
Please don't
it's
remind
not
me.
no, it's not to bag you, but where Essendon was still, we was pretty even on the ladder at the time. I think like we're around the same mark, and everyone said, "Well, Freo need to win away from home, like to prove that they're a
Ah,
threat."
I
And
remember that game.
it's the same sort of thing. Like, Essendon at home, I don't think they're going to do it. And I think we only won by 6 or 7 goals, but we took it away from home and we played our style of footy, and we played our style of footy, defence first into attack, but it was just beautiful to watch on Saturday. And now I know we'll come back after the bye and we'll be shit for the rest of the year. So look, I'll have my moment now. Christmas in June.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we can obviously everyone's got to go on about. Pardon me, sorry, Melbourne being they're a bit of a shambles at the moment. They're all over the place, and which they are, and they've got some big issues heading into the back half of the year. But you got to give credit where it's due, and
Yeah.
Freo were dominant. I mean, when Jai Miss plays like that, he like you've rated him
He's
for a long time.
he's our Harry Mackay at the moment.
Yeah,
The,
yep,
the talent is there, and if he gets his confidence up early, he's unstoppable. Like
yeah,
Harry Mackay gets his confidence up, he can't be stopped. But
yep.
if his confidence lingering at the start, misses a couple of easy shots, it's a tough day at the office for the team. And I think we've got probably currently 4. I think I know it's probably a little bit biased, but I think we've got 4 All Australians. I think we've got 5 that make the squad. I think we've got 4 that make the team.
Who do you think? Who do you think they are?
The 4 that make the team, or the 5 that make the squad.
But I'll give us 5 to make the squad, and the one that misses
Well,
out. Then
Sarong. I think
yes,
Sarong, Pearce, Luke Ryan, and Jordan Clark make the team. Jordan Clark's the one that's on the fence also, but the one that misses the team, it makes the squad is Tracy. Tracy, sorry. But the trouble with that is I do believe that there's about 6 or 7 forwards that are probably rated a little bit higher than him, but I think he's going a little bit under the radar with what he's doing.
yeah, he
outside of
He's
goals,
definitely
he's
had
had
a
a
really good best season
yeah,
for him, and he's got a lot of talent for sure. 3 goals, 2 on the weekend.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, definitely. I will agree. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know how they fit all 4 of them in, but
I don't think Jordan Clark makes it, but I think the other three are nailed on.
yeah, well, you gotta have you definitely gotta have Alex Pearce probably is
Well,
the best key back in the game. Um,
first or second, yeah,
yeah.
easy.
Um, I mean,
And
Luke
then
Ryan does what
Luke
Luke
Ryan,
Ryan
yeah.
does, and yeah, I mean, I think everyone would agree that you'd want like Sarong on your team. Like they done an interview the other day about how about that someone asked him to interview about extra time, and he was like, "I was spewing up like after towards the end of the game, like he had nothing left in the tank." And man, you just want players like that in your team. And yeah,
Well,
when he was
there's
mic'd up for that Collingwood game, it was incredible.
there's a there's a picture I've seen that got sent to me when it was during the whole Chera saga when Adam Chera left,
Yep, yep,
and in Sarong's locker he had the first 22 players that win a premiership at Fremantle will be immortal. And to me, that just screams of a bloke that's never going to leave. I
yeah,
know we sit here
yeah.
and say it, but I just the moment from the moment, and you know how big of a Sarong fan I am. I'm a little bit biased with it, but just I mean, I think he's our next captain after Alex Pearce. I know everyone says Brayshaw, but I think he's the best player on our list, and a lot of people do disagree with me on some things, but on that, but I just think there's something about him that how he slipped to number 8, I don't know in that draft.
Crazy. Yeah, yep,
I
crazy.
don't
I
know.
agree. I agree. He's your next captain too. He's full on captain material. Um, and yeah, who went. Oh, maybe it's a question for another day, but we'll have to see who went it before him.
Hayden Young went before him at number 7.
Yep.
And then the pick before that was Fisher McCasey.
Yeah.
So why the Crows aren't taking Caleb Sarong, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Crows don't have the best drafting track record, to be fair. Recently, I'm
That
talking
is
about.
true. That is
Um,
true.
but yeah, I'd love to play under him. And I mean, now they've got a bye this week, and then who do they play after the bye?
Got the
Give us one
Bulldogs in Melbourne.
in Melbourne. So you play them twice in like 6 weeks. That's weird.
Yeah, it's just how the fixture set up. It's stupid. It's like Sydney had a buy in round 4, then a buy in round 11. Like,
Yeah, I hate the whole bye setup, but we'll talk about that in a minute. On to quickly the last game before we finish up. Um, the Gold Coast Suns are still undefeated at home this year. And the Bombers had their first loss in 6 weeks. Obviously watched this game. I haven't watched any of it back since, but
oh, I have.
was actually a good game of footy. I personally think if we took our chances, we win that game of footy. But Gold Coast Suns ended up being stronger around the contest.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
probably had the game in their hands or playing their style they wanted to play for longer. But we missed some sitters, and that probably cost us a game in the end. But I don't think it's a game where I know a lot of the Essendon, well, not a lot, but like any team, when your team loses, a lot of people just bag the shit out of bloody the team. But
I
go
I
on.
think that is a game you needed to win. And
Correct.
I think you should be a little bit disappointed with losing it. Just because for me that you win that game, I start to take these a little bit more seriously. As I said to you when I saw you Saturday, I'm not sold on you guys yet, and I know you're not fully, but I feel like that was the one that if you win that game, I go, okay, Gold Coast away from home have been fucking great this year. Essendon have done that. I've got to start taking this mob seriously. But I look at that and go, they've lost that. They've then got Carlton. They lose to Carlton. Is it going to start to be panic stations at Essendon because, oh, maybe we're not good enough for a top 4 spot? Do you know what I mean?
True. I totally agree with you. And first thing I said after the game was, that loss actually, it hurt. I was like pretty down about it because my whole thought process was the exact same. I remember saying to a couple of Essendon fans and Discord chats and that like, man, if we'd won this week, we have like separation in on second. Like we'd be a game and a half off
Yeah,
third place, and that just sets us up so well. Um,
yeah. It hurts you a bit
yeah,
now because now you're in the pack with a team like well, I say Freo, but because they're the closest to you, but Freo and Collingwood who have got draws, so your percentage matters against Freo and Collingwood. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. And
Whereas if you
yeah,
had that game and a half on us, it's going to take us a game and a half to claw it back. Whereas
yeah,
now you lose this week and we just get a win, we're ahead of you because we've got percentage on you. So
yeah, exactly. We
um,
could end up in like seventh spot within like 2 weeks.
yeah, well, that's how
Um,
close it is. I mean, Melbourne went from
yeah,
third to 10th. So
and yeah,
um,
very true. But yeah, I think when you look at a like start like Merritt went 0 goals, 3. He had a good game, but if he kicks 2 of those, Martin missed an absolute sitter. And then obviously I thought, what King is it? Ben? No, it's Max King, isn't it?
yeah, Ben. Nah, Ben.
Ben King. I thought he actually beat Mackay on the weekend. So
Yeah, he's
um,
probably the first one to actually get a hold of Mackay.
yeah,
From what
kick
I've
4
seen this
goals.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. Um, and yeah, we obviously got some injuries coming out of the game. So and some people were, and I couldn't believe this, were bagging Nick Bryan after the game, and I thought that was just. You probably don't know much about this, but
It's probably just because you've had a dominant. Your ruckman's been pretty good this year, and yeah, your ruckmans have had an off game. But I mean, Goldstein's probably can't play every week, so
no, he can't. And still, Brian had 15 touches, 25. Where's his hit outs?
I think it was the fact he was also up against another inexperienced ruckman, maybe.
Yeah, but the dude's only playing his 15th game, so he's not going to like, he just he played really well. He just got tired in the last quarter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Whereas
think it was pretty
Moyle,
harsh.
Moyle's probably also only playing his 15th game,
Yeah, let's have a
so
look.
like
Moyo.
he's probably played less actually. It's probably like his fourth.
I don't even know where you find out. That's his view profile. Well, he's played 3 games this year, though. This was Nick Bryan's first game of the year. Oh, God knows. But anyway, yeah, it's this weekend I'm a little worried about the Bombers and what could happen. But please win. That's all I have to
Yeah.
say. But yeah, would have set us up big time. Not to be the Gold Coast. I mean, they're looking decent at home still. I mean, it's in their hands if they want to play finals, I suppose, for the first time. And I thought they played pretty good. So, yeah, should we move on?
Yeah, mate.
On to some of the news, mate. I reckon that's the quickest we've got through the games on a
We're still
podcast.
we're
We're still
still at
40
40
minutes in,
minutes.
but
Yeah.
big news coming out of the week. Harley Reid and Sam Darcy both suspended for 2 weeks. 2 players that were, favourites for the rising star. First of all, question: Did they both deserve the 2 weeks? And then second question, which has been spoken about all week: Do they change the rising star rule to not be the fairest?
We spoke about this yesterday. Obviously, we saw it. We bumped into each other yesterday. I think so. I think yes, but also I don't think it can be dependent on how many weeks because if you punch someone at the moment, you're only getting a week, and to me, punching someone's a thug act. So
Yeah,
I think just keep it what it is, but also the Coleman medal you can win without being suspended, while being suspended. So shouldn't that be a best and fairest award also? But
you're
also, I
probably right.
guess it's a little bit. I guess it's a little bit different. So look, I think they both got what they deserved. I mean, Darcy's could have been a whole lot worse.
He was very lucky.
in my opinion, because he braced a fair way back. So
Yep.
Reed's a little bit more, but it's just the action. It was a silly action by Reed, and he has to pay the consequences.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I would personally, same as I'll do this with the Brownlow as well. I'd say there has to be like a threshold. Like if you, I don't know, maybe got suspended for 4 weeks or more throughout the year or something like that, then you're not eligible. But if you cop a 1-2 week ban, I think you should still be eligible to win a Brownlow or best.
Yeah, I just
A Rising
disagree with
Star.
it. I disagree with it because you can get 1 week for a punch. You should be ineligible for a punch. Punching's not a part of footy. That's the way I look at it. So it's too
Correct.
many. There's too many grey areas. Like, and I know it sounds stupid, but let's just say, for instance, Barry Hall's. Well, let's say Andrew Gas punch, right?
Yep.
Those 16 weeks leading up to that, he was the best player in every game. Does he deserve the Brownlow after he's done a punch like that?
No, but he got more than 4 weeks.
Yeah, but okay, let's say he only got 3 weeks for it. Do you know what I mean? You start to have variables and stuff. So I think it's something you got to look at. But yeah, I mean, in saying that, you know the rules. You can't. I know there's a lot more variables in getting suspended, but you can't be suspended for that award. And Harley Reid got suspended, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
So,
It's just the actual best riding, the best first year player is not going to win it. That's what I just think
but
is
he'll
just
win the
odd.
best first year player award still.
Wow. See,
I
that's where
know.
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know, but it's just what it is.
Yeah, I guess. Who's going to win the Rising Star now? That's an interesting question. I have
I'm
no
on
idea.
Kai Lohman from Brisbane. I think he's
Yep.
having a good year.
Yep.
Maybe Billy Dowling when he comes in and tears it up this week, and then just continues on.
There's got to be some.
Uh,
McKercher before he got injured.
yeah, Darcy Wilson
Actually, that's a great shout.
having a very good year.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a few out there. I'm sure
Yep.
we'll see him. George
Yeah.
Wardlaw.
Can he still win it?
Yep, and he got nominated this year again. So
Wow.
yep.
There you go. Yeah, so there's definitely a few going around. Be interesting to see. I mean, it's wide open now. I might have to chuck a cheeky bet on. Even though I don't bet anymore, but don't
Kai
think
Lohman, mate. Kai Lohman.
Kyle Lohman's the one with the
That's
blonde
my
hair.
pick. Yeah.
New holding the ball rule was super all over the news for a good few, or basically the entirety of last week. And then obviously with the new, well, not rule change, but they changed the interpretation of the rule. How did you find it this week? I actually thought that it, for the most part, went relatively well. There wasn't too many I was not happy with.
It was still
Obviously,
very
there's got to be
inconsistent.
there's going to be the ticky tatchy ones, but for the most part, I actually thought it was I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot better with those quicker decisions, even with the ball ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I think it worked for me, but I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, it had its moments. I had a few where I still watched the Freo game, and there's a couple where like Track got the ball, took on two players, completely dropped it, and it didn't get paid. And I was like, it's still hit and miss. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. There was still a lot of tackled looking at the umpires like, what do you want me to do? And they still didn't pay holding the ball. So I think it's just needs to be teased, but it did seem to keep a lot of the games still moving fast. Like there was one where Walsh got tackled and his arm got lifted up in the tackle and his arm is holding the ball outside the tackle. What do you want him to do? Like he can't actually drop it on his feet. He just got to drop it on the ground. So I think there's still a lot to learn from it. But again, it will change again in 6 weeks. That's the problem with
Yeah.
it.
Well. Yeah. Yep. And it comes to grand final time, they won't pay a hole in the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I think the main thing is the quicker decision of a ball up or a hole in the ball decision. I think that's what I liked a bit more.
Yes, yes.
There's nothing worse than sitting there watching a game of footy where it's like a bloody rugby scrum for like 5 minutes of players just running
No,
just in a big pack.
exactly.
So, but yeah, and obviously we disagree on the Jai Caldwell holding the ball decision.
I've
But that's that's an
I've watched
interesting
that.
one.
I've watched that again, and you say he just taps it, like he hits him on the arm. He still grabs his arm,
He doesn't tackle him.
but he
In
pulls
my
his
opinion,
arm,
he
which
doesn't tackle him.
makes him drop the footy, so it's incorrect disposal.
Well, is that not just knocked out in a tackle?
No, he didn't touch the footy. He made the person dispose of the football incorrectly. That's how I look at it.
I
But
beg to
I
differ. But
probably also
yeah,
say to you that if that happened to Freo, I'd be salty. So it's each their own.
it
So
yeah, I don't think he tackled him. I don't think it's but I mean, the 50 as well absolutely pissed me off, but probably Laverde just being a dumbass. Um, yeah, but I don't think I don't think he actually fully like there was a decision in round one which caught my eye a lot, and it was Essendon Hawthorn, and Hawthorn player was running, took a bounce, and as he took a bounce, it was actually Jai Caldwell dived and like grabbed his Guernsey, like just grabbed his Guernsey and like dragged, like he was getting dragged on the ground. But obviously the Hawthorn player bounced the ball, so they paid it holding the ball. But I was like, he's actually not tackling him. He's just like, he's
yeah, but it's
holding
holding
him.
it. But that is
Yeah,
literally to the letter of the law. You can't bounce the ball
I,
while you're being tackled.
I get that, but he's not really being tackled. He's Jai Caldwell's like dived from like 3 meters away and just like kind of half grabbed his shirt as he's bounced.
Yeah, but
And it's
your
like,
Guernsey's a part
ah,
of you, so that's a tackle.
yeah, I know. I
If
don't know.
he
It just looked a bit funny.
if Jai Caldwell were to sling him and tackle him in that motion, it's a sling tackle, and then he gets suspended for it. Oh, is it the same thing, or he didn't really tackle him? Do you know what I mean?
No, but he didn't even have him like that. He like had him
Oh,
by
okay.
his like fingernails.
Ah, good on it. Keep it up.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was happy at the time, but I remember like when I seen it, I was like, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it it's what it is, I suppose. And if it's, I mean, you're right. If it's what it says in the rule book, now it's got to be paid. On to the next thing. Oh, actually, another question I was going to ask you. I cannot stand the buys being split over 4 weeks. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but it just, I don't know. I do not like it.
I just think they should have what they used to have and have split round.
Yeah, over 2 weeks.
4 games and then 5 games.
Yeah.
And then buys are done. Yeah, I don't know. Whether it's good, like whether we think it's good in the state league. Like I know for this whole weekend, there's no AFL on. Like there's Thursday night, but then there's no AFL on. So are more people going to watch state league? So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's better for state league, but or
You're
just
talking
have
about
a
Sandfall?
yeah. Maybe it's better
Yeah,
for
because I
state
don't think
league.
there's no local on the weekend, I don't think. Or unless I'm,
No, there's no local this week either. No.
yeah.
So whether it's better for that and the state leagues get a bit of boom from it, but I just think 4 weeks is too long. But I just think maybe have a round where there's no footy.
Yeah.
Like I know it sounds stupid and they want to lose money, but then have that round as okay. Let's have it so it's maybe free, but let's have the weekend all the SANFL games at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah.
No
Or,
Port and Crows. No Port and Crows because their AFL team's going to buy.
yeah.
But Adelaide Oval for the weekend for a Gold Queen entry or something. Let's just have all the SANFL teams Friday night, Saturday Arvo, Saturday night, Sunday. And I
Or,
tell you
yeah.
what, watch the numbers come out.
True.
Like just put eyes on it. Go, oh shit! I actually don't mind watching this level of football. Oh wait, I could go to Elizabeth Oval and watch that every week. Like I think it would enhance the lower leagues and put more money into the lower leagues, and then the talent pool becomes better.
Yet again, wouldn't it be cool to have a like AFL players excluded, have a like Australia like championships thing over a weekend where it'd be like state versus state where
No, because
I know it'd be really hard to work, but that's such I would love some sort of state
I
of origin. I would love
gen,
it.
yeah, because there's unlike the NRL, there's 3 states that dominate that.
That's
Like,
okay though.
no, as in, like, you can't have unless if you did, like, a round robin, so, like, Thursday night, WA play Vic, Friday night, SA play Vic, Saturday, WA play SA, and then the top 2 teams playing, like, a championship on the Sunday, but I don't think that would work.
No, but maybe even just maybe have a what like go. All right, this like it's going to be WA versus New South Wales, Queensland on like the Saturday Arvo, and then have Vic versus SA Saturday night.
Nah,
Like something
because
like that would be
WA
so
won't like
cool.
that.
Yeah, but it can be
Because they're not.
rotated every year.
Nah, but I don't wanna play. I'm not gonna go watch State of Origin if we're playing New South Wales, Queensland. Sorry. I don't give a shit about them. Like, I know it sounds a little bit, like, top of me, but I don't care about that.
No, you don't. But you can't just
It's
have a
not.
3-team state of origin. That's not going to
But
work.
that's the trouble with it. That's why State of Origin won't work. And you can't. I'm sorry, you can't do Vics versus All Stars because I fucking hate it. I don't care about the All
So
Stars.
do I. Yeah.
It's not the same. I want to represent South. I want to watch South Australia. I want to watch South Australia. I want it to be like it was. I'm so upset I missed that generation because I think that would have been the best. Like, I see State of Origin with New South Wales, Queensland. That shit would pop.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I
it would
agree.
be awesome.
Some of my old man mentions like the times that he went over to the G to watch the state of origin or the games at Amy Stadium here where it'd be like sold out, like just and I reckon he mentioned he'd gotten just about a fight every time with a Victorian or um, he's got some crazy
Yeah.
stories of when he went to the G to watch the state of origin. When I can't remember what the player's name, South Australian player went straight after Dermy and there was a big fight and like he said there was pure hatred between South Australian and Victorian supporters in that era.
Yeah.
And it's still around today when you actually think of it. But yeah, I would really love some sort of state of origin game.
No, I get that, but I just don't think it'd be the same now.
No,
And yeah.
probably not. Probably not. Mate, that's just about it. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up? We
We should just mention them. BSR had their first loss on the weekend.
They're going to be spewing we didn't mention the goal-winning game last
I
week
do
too.
have to apologise, apparently, to Josh Fry. My words were not my views. Russell forced me to say them. No, I did say that Josh Fry is good off the field, not as good on the field. Apparently had a blinder the week after.
Kick the snag.
But I do stand by the statement that Josh is great off the field. And
he's a culture man.
I think if he doesn't think he adds team morale off the field, he's deluded because he is what you want off the field.
Absolutely. I actually totally agree with that. He's a team bonder, Mr. Fry. Yeah, hopefully the BSR boys bounce back this week. Big game for my boys, Gazer against Paraka. A lot of the boys that play at Paraka know Gazer pretty well, and a few of them were there last year. So it's going to be a fun and probably sad game to watch for the Gazer boys. But yeah, and also, we'll bring it up next week, but obviously Dusty's 3 under us. We can bring that up and talk about that next week.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. We are going to try to potentially, it's more my fault than anything, but do the podcast on a Monday instead of a Wednesday so we can get it out a bit earlier and gives you time to listen to the podcast before the next round starts. But yeah, just about wrap it up, mate. Anything else you want to mention?
Nah, all good from my end, mate.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget, if you're new here, follow us on our socials, Between the 50s on Facebook. And yeah, we appreciate you all, and we'll speak to you all soon. See you later, Camo.
No worries. Bye.